Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Whenever you hear this message, I pray that you're poised to receive, to accept, and to respond, most importantly, to words of wisdom. Ashen. So today I want to share a really impactful lesson with the good people who are on the verge of a breakthrough, or you're right in the middle of a breakthrough. Today belongs to Oya and Shango, Eko Jojakuta Kabiesi. And so we performed our morning rituals bright and early, and accordingly, Oya and Shango delivered some really deep insights into change, into transformation, into growth, elevation, and expansion. And so I wanna share part of the lessons with you, with the certainty that this is going to help you in the time of uncertainty and ambiguity that accompanies growth, expansion, elevation, and change. And the significance of this lesson is tied to my understanding of the journey. Okay. And we talk about the journey of life, the journey of self-discovery, the journey of personal mastery and personal greatness. The journey begins with curiosity. It's fueled by passion. It's directed by purpose. It is expressed through autonomy, and it is perfected through mastery. Okay. So, in other words, there are these five facets, if you will, and they're really phases. They're phases of development that begins with curiosity, is followed up by passion, and then purpose, and then autonomy, and finally mastery. All right. So these are the five phases, and they are developmental phases. You know, it all starts with curiosity, right? But it ends with mastery. Now, the thing that you need to understand is that the trick of all these phases is that the values, there are value system at each stage. At each stage of your development, you're going to have different values systems. Okay. And this is what maturity teaches you. Naturally, if you're 40, 50, 60, 70 years old, you already know the validity of what I'm saying. It doesn't really start to get clear to you until you reach a certain stage of your life where you realize, what has been driving. Okay. And so every stage of your development has a different values system. And your ability to navigate and go from one stage of life to the next successfully has everything to do with your ability to fully optimize the value system at each stage, but then relinquish that value system as you go into the next phase. And it doesn't mean that you have to betray your value system from one to the next. It just means that you understand that your values have shifted, and things that may have been extremely important when you were 14 are less important when you're 44. It's not that they don't matter at all. It's just that they aren't as important as they used to be once upon a time. And it reminds me of a book that I read called Six Thinking Hats. And I want you to check this book out, because even though there are developmental phases, right? These five developmental phases, there are also people who tend more toward one phase than another. So there are people who are naturally more curious. There are people who are naturally more passionate, others who are naturally more purpose driven, others who are naturally more autonomous. And then there are others who naturally just are inclined toward mastery. They are more inclined toward, you know, being the architect or the ringleader, right? And so for you, for each of us, it becomes additional level of self-evaluation to go through the different stages, lean upon what our natural gifts and talents are, but at the same time, not over depend upon those natural gifts and talents. This is why the Yoruba say, strength without weakness is the greatest weakness of all. Excuse me, strength without wisdom is the greatest weakness of all. And what it tells us is that you may be naturally passionate, but if you don't understand passion within the context of the other attributes and abilities, your passion becomes your greatest flaw. You might be naturally inclined toward mastery, but if you can't see mastery in relationship to curiosity, purpose, autonomy, then mastery is going to work against you constantly and relentlessly until you learn to contextualize it and see it as a part of the whole, as a system, right? So, on one hand of the equation, if you follow my work, you'll see how what I'm saying resonates so strongly with my insistence upon you discovering your natural gifts and talents, right? You've got to know your natural gifts and talents. That's the key. That is going to take you much further than anything else. If you don't know your natural gifts and talents, all the rest of it is hit or miss, right? Because you don't have context for your own well-being. You don't have context for your own sense of self-fulfillment. But at the same time, your natural gifts and talents fit within a system. Your ability to exercise systems thinking, even as it pertains to yourself, is essential to your ability to take that journey, from step one, step two, step three, step four, up to step five. Now, these six thinking hats are, you got the white hat, which is about facts and figures. You got the red hat, which is about passion and excitement. You've got the black hat, which is in the Gnostic world, we would call it the via negativa. This is pessimism, right? This is your troubleshooter. Then you've got the yellow hat. The yellow hat is, little Miss Sunshine. This is the person who is eternally just cosmic optimism. You've got the green hat. Green hat is creative. This is the person who's just, for every problem they've got a solution. They're innovators. They are creators. They can see opportunities where other people just see limitations. And then you got the blue hat, which is, the mastermind. The blue hat is the one who knows how to put those different players into different locations or different positions and optimize them. But likewise, you as the mastermind of your own existence, you know how to, organize your own experience in such a way that you can optimize and maximize your potential as a person. This is self mastery. Now, like I said, the challenge that you face is that your value systems at every stage of development, they shift and they might contradict one another. So you got to be adept at maximizing those values and then releasing those values at different intervals at the appropriate time. Now, today, as I mentioned, belongs to Oyan Shango, and oddly enough, that was the thrust and the drive of today's lesson, where we see in the verse that talks about the people who live between heaven and earth, right? They were like birds in the sky. They didn't belong on land, and they didn't belong in the heavens. They were just in between. This is ambiguity. This is someone who's in between stages. This is someone who is torn between what they know, what is concrete, what is certain, what is familiar, and what can be, what is on the horizon, what the potential is. Those in the school will be familiar with, one of the a symbol that comes from the Fon tradition is wekeno. Wekeno is a symbol that is a white circle with a red square in the middle. That white circle represents possibilities. It is the unknown. It is potential. And the red square represents what is known, what is familiar. It's hot earth, but it represents, hot earth is like if you imagine being on a hot beach barefoot. You can't stand there. It's going to burn your feet. And so it represents a time wherein you've mastered your level, you've mastered your environment, you've optimized everything that can be done there, and now you've got to use what you know to go into what you don't know. And so this is what it means to be between heaven and earth and be in that state of ambiguity, because you can't stay where you've been. You can't stay in the curious stage. You can't stay in the passionate stage. You can't stay just in the purpose-driven stage. You can't stay in the state of just autonomy where you just have freedom, freedom, freedom. And you can't stay just in the place where of it's just mastery. Everything is exactly where it is and it doesn't shift, right? You've got to be able to move fluidly. And that requires wisdom, right? That requires wisdom. When is the appropriate time to do one thing versus another? And so what I know as a as your teacher, and I'm going to speak most explicitly to my experience as a black man, as an upwardly mobile black man, there's something that I know that we experience that they call survivor's guilt, right? Survivor's guilt is, when we were in our teens, we couldn't see life past 25, right? Maybe we could see up to an imaginary 30, and then once you start getting further and further beyond what our own expectations were, and you look to your left and you look to your right and you start to think, well, how did I make it? How have I been so fortunate to accomplish the things that so many of my peers were denied one way or another for one reason or another? And we look at someone like Nipsey Hussle, who's a good brother by all accounts. But what did Nipsey do? Well, being altruistic, Nipsey went back, or he never left. Nipsey never left the hood. And as a result of jealousy, envy, hatred, the hood killed Nipsey while he was doing all good, And so it reveals to us the ways in which our conflicting values actually can cost us our lives. There is what is familiar and all the values that are associated with what's familiar. And then there is what you have evolved into and what you've grown into. And the need for you to let go of what is familiar in favor of what's real and what is on the horizon for you. It's essential. It's essential. You cannot stay in that stage that is familiar and comfortable. You can't stay there. It is absolutely toxic and potentially deadly. So this is where you get to see, Nipsey Hussle is just an extreme example. But when I think about, all the different kinds of relationships, friendships, situations that I have put my own self in, and I've seen other brothers of my ilk put themselves in, because we are battling with these conflicting value systems and grappling with how to let go of the previous stage, the circle of friends, the places that we used to go, the things that we used to do, the things that we used to eat. We just have to let them go, right? And it's not about burning bridges, but it does have to happen. You got to let those things go in order to realize the next phase of growth, development, transformation, and really efficacy. Because you're the only way that I'm going to be able to deliver on the ancestral promise and manifest my destiny fully is by moving aggressively and assertively into the emerging values system that I am growing into, right? So you cannot downgrade for the sake of familiarity. You cannot downgrade for the sake of, altruism. It's always about the continuous upgrade, right? Now, what that means is, thinking about the example of Nipsey and being in the hood is something that you would have known back in the day where people always say the game is to be told, the game is to be sold, not to be told. The game is to be sold, not to be told, which means that as you grow and as your values shift, you have to understand what your skill, your expertise, your knowledge, your mastery is worth to the people who experience it. It took me 20 years to figure it out. It used to take me 12 hours to put it together. Now I've distilled it all into a maximum 1 hour. I can do it all and put it into play in an hour. But that has nothing to do with the value of it. It's important for me to know what this means to you. If you're coming from phase 1 to phase 2, I need to know how this lesson is going to be valuable to you as the one who's providing that experience for you. I need to know if you're going from phase 2 to phase 3 and I prepare this lesson for you, I have to know how that value is going to be transformative to you. I got to know that this is the only way for you to go. This is the only bridge from phase 2 to phase 3. This is the bridge from phase 3 to phase 4. It's not even a bridge now. It's a ladder from stage 4 to 5. It's not a bridge or a ladder. It's a helicopter. I have to know that. But also, this is important for you. You have to get to the stage in your growth and in your self-discovery that you realize it. You've got to grab a hold of the fact of, hey, what this person is offering me is precious. This is the only way for me to progress, or this is the most practical, intelligent, sensible way for me to progress. Because that's what's going to cause you to pay whatever it costs to get the game that I'm offering you. Lots and lots and lots of people don't recognize when the game is being sold at a premium price, at the right price, at the only price, and that price is absolutely worth whatever you're going to have to do to pay it. A lot of people don't understand when they're seeing good game. It reminds me of, I've forgotten this guy's name, but he was a world-renowned violinist. And he went into the New York subway and he played for like an hour in the subway. And thousands of people walked by. Maybe he made like $30, 27, 28. It was really meager, the amount of money that people threw into his violin case. That same day, this guy went into, I don't know, Carnegie Hall or something. He went and he's a world-class violinist in the New York Philharmonic or something like this. People are paying thousands of dollars a seat to see this guy play. But thousands and thousands of people in the subway had no way of understanding and appreciating what they were hearing. And so it is with a lot of our people today. We are losing the capacity to see the value of certain experiences, largely because we're unaware of the phases of the journey. The Yoruba say, the youth know how to cut the tree, but the elders know where it will fall. Wisdom is complete knowledge. It isn't just being able to state facts. It isn't just being able to show charisma and razzle dazzle. Wisdom is understanding, like I said, the systems thinking, being able to take all of the different elements and attributes of your greatness and of this moment and put them into the proper context to create the desired outcome based on complete knowledge. What's the real desired outcome? Okay. This is a lesson, a precious and infinitely valuable lesson for leaders who are really, really opening their eyes, their minds, and their hearts to what it will take to improve the world through positive influence. If you are one of those people, I want you to find out how Oloye Obafemi Origunwa and the Odisha Lifestyle Academy can help you take your practice and your life to the highest level possible. Visit me at obafemio.com or odishalifestyle.com, and let's start working together to help you live the medicine that will heal your life and heal the lives of those who you are destined to serve. I look forward to working with you. Bye for now. Odabo.